So, one day, me and my friend, we were doing a FNAF marathon. He was watching me try my hardest to beat Night 4 on Sister Location, which by the way is a very annoying night and should be taken out of the game. Then he said this particular sentence that struck this idea into my head. What you doing if Circus Baby lined up against you on the D line? I then had a That's So Raven flashback into the future, where I was on a cruise with Kai Cenat and Drewski drinking wine from this very idea. So with that being said, welcome to the Five Nights at Freddy's NFL lineup. Today we will be discussing and going over my picks for the best team of animatronics for each individual position. Welcome to the channel. This is my first video and I hope you enjoy it. Starting off, we can't have a football team without first choosing our coach. Now, there aren't many options when it comes to who we can choose as our coach, since we either have the option of a literal mass murder or a bunch of confused children inside teddy bear outfits. So what better character than that of Old Man Consequences, the man who gives you advice to let your soul rest during the events of Ultimate Custom Night. Nothing better than having a coach who helps you get through your issues, right? Not only that, but I believe he will dish out some grade A punishments to those players who mess up, because that's kinda his whole thing. Okay, now we're getting to the fun stuff. We have our quarterback. Now, there aren't really any animatronics who have any throwing feats in any of the game. Well, all except for one. Even though he basically only has one hand, we're gonna be choosing Funtime Freddy for a quarterback position due to this reason. He literally throws Bonbon at the door in Sister Location very frequently. Now, you may be wondering, how is he gonna accurately throw the ball? Is he even left-handed? Well, here's where I can drag you into my little plot. When the ball is snapped, Freddy has another set of hands from Bonbon, who can hold on to the ball until Freddy is able to take it away from him and then throw it. He would also have an extra hand to stiff arm any defenders coming his way. And to answer your question of is Funtime Freddy left-handed, the answer is yes, according to Google. Anyways, that is our team captain for the offense. Now, let's see who our running back will be. Running back is a very crucial position, commonly taken by those who are very short but also extremely fast, in order for them to be hard to grab due to their small size, and to be able to be quick enough to shed off tacklers and outrun defenders. Now, we all know who the fastest animatronic is, right? It's Foxy. However, which variant of Foxy is the shortest? Oh my god. Oh my god, he's almost a foot shorter than me. According to the gallery option in FNAF Help Wanted, you can make a pretty good estimate that Nightmare Foxy is around 5 foot 6 inches tall. Wow, can't think of a different pick for him. He's just the perfect candidate for running back. Who knows, he may even be better than Walter Payton or Barry Sanders. With his agility from the first game, we can assume that it's carried over to FNAF 4. He makes the same running sound in FNAF 4 as he does in FNAF 1, so we can assume he runs about the same speed. And how fast is that speed? Okay, yeah, almost nobody's catching this man. He's barely slower than the former Olympic gold medalist, Usain Bolt, clocking in at 27.79 miles per hour. I think we chose a perfect fit for the running back position. Now for the position that very few football teams have anymore, sadly. But I'm adding it anyway because that's what I played in high school and in college. The fullback position, a position where speed, precision, and strength are essential to being successful. Now, it took me a while to find out who would best fit this position. I pondered maybe Glamrock Freddy, but then I remember he basically got folded in seconds by some random robots and knew this position was not meant for him. However, his bass player has very good strength and speed feats. Even though I hate Monty to death and Bonnie is better, and if you think any differently, your opinion is objectively incorrect, he would be a perfect fit for the fullback position. He caught the large bucket of balls in Monty's golf, and the only reason he dropped it on himself was because the catwalk gave out underneath him, meaning he's very strong animatronic. His speed feats are also nothing to scoff at either. He can pounce on Gregory in Security Breach, as well as chase him down while he's running away. His pounce feat is kinda insane. He can jump like 30 feet in the span of a second, so got some really strong legs. And in my opinion, this makes him the ideal fullback. Now for the two wide receiver positions. The position that gets all the glory, well, besides the quarterback, but most of the glory. It was pretty difficult to come up with who should be a receiver. I initially thought any type of Foxy, however they have hooks on their hands, which would make it very hard for them to catch the ball, since it's going to be lobbed by Funtime Freddy, who probably can throw around 80 miles an hour. Nightmare Foxy's different because you don't typically use two hands to run a football unless you're covering it up before you get tackled, but that's more of your arm than your hand, so that's probably why he still works at running back. However, here it is very different. After thinking for a good amount of time, I struck gold. There's variants of Foxy without the hook. That's right, our wide receivers will be Funtime Foxy and Roxanne Wolf. Funtime Foxy only being, oh my god, 5'9". However, that's never stopped the short kings, right? I'm not sure, I don't know. I can see Funtime Foxy getting up there like Wes Welker. Truly. I think they got it in the bag for this one. Maybe seeing Funtime Foxy hit an Odell type catch. I don't know. I have faith in you though. Now for Roxanne. Man, Roxanne's between 7 and 8 feet tall. Oh my god, she's gonna be so much trouble for whatever defense she's going up against. She's also good with her hands since she's able to play guitar and Security Breach, which, you know, I guess would correlate, but I'm not sure. What did you think I was gonna say when I said she was good with her hands, you freaking sickos? Anyways, Roxanne. I feel like she'll be basically the Calvin Johnson of this league. And the nickname works great too. Calvin's being Megatron and Roxanne being a literal robot. It's poetry at the end of the day. I think these two would make a nightmare duo for their position. Oh boy, now we're on to the big boys. The game changers of any offense. The offensive line. Now, I feel for these big guys. Being a fullback and a defensive end myself, I felt for the big boys getting no recognition when they'd make a great play. So, I did all the big boys justice with these picks. Don't you worry. Coming in, we're going to start off with the left and the right tackle. Tackles are typically taller and have slightly more mobility than the offensive guards, due to them having to contain the outside much more than the guards. So after thinking for a good 10 minutes, I actually came up with Withered Freddy and Nightmare Bonnie for our tackle position. Their frame is more tall and a bit leaner than some of the other animatronics, Nightmare Bonnie especially being almost 8 feet tall. Oh nah. They're gonna need at least 10 Nick Bosas if they're going to stand a chance against this nightmare of a tackle. Not to mention, this man weighs over 500 pounds, presumably, but I think we can all agree because all these animatronics, well, are animatronics and are going to weigh a lot because they're just a bunch of metal. But just imagine lining up against Nightmare Bonnie, and he's in his offensive stance, and he's just staring at you. You know you're cooked, but you gotta at least try. Or Coach Harbaugh is gonna scream at you, and then get so mad that he leaves the league to go coach college. Shots fired. I truthfully think Nightmare Bonnie is a great pick for this position. Now on to the other side of the offensive line. At the other tackle position, we have Withered Freddy. Now, he is actually somehow the exact same height as Nightmare Bonnie. Wow. Which makes the outer edges of the line absolutely nightmare filled. I would never want to go on either side of them. Freddy having the lighter set somehow, having a cannon weight of 412 pounds. What a weird cannon weight. Which does make him significantly lighter than Nightmare Bonnie. However, Freddy is a bear. And bears have an innate trait that they inherit from birth. Where they fight other bears, they plant their feet into the ground, making them almost unmovable. And since Withered Freddy is a bear, he can do this! He's also playing tackle, so this is the best trait he can have. I think our outer edges are amazing, and almost nobody could possibly get through them. Alright, now we're on to the two butterballs, which would be the offensive guards. The guards are typically shorter and much more dense than the tackles, so I wanted to find two animatronics that were almost identical to each other. That way one side wouldn't be lacking compared to the other. And who better than to pick the twins themselves, JJ and Balloon Boy? No, I'm just joking, they would absolutely get manhandled. Our pick is going to be Nightmare and Nightmare Fredbear. Both of these animatronics are very large in their own right, either being 6'8" or... Did I just read that correct? 12'6". There's no way. I don't think they're this tall, but just imagine the possibilities. However, I'm going to stick with the statement that they're 6'8" because of the doors they stand in FNAF 4. And I just do not believe that their hat is over 6 foot tall. Like, what would that even look like? So we should probably just stick with the 6'8" fact. Both of them being absolute demons in their own right on both sides of the center, able to take beatings as well as stop anything that tries to get in their path, protecting Funtime Freddy with their lives. Now onto the curveball of this group, the center. Usually seen as the captain of the offensive line, typically very pudgy and short with very strong legs. And who's very pudgy and short in FNAF? well, no one else than our boy Toy Freddy. I mean, estimates on him either being 5'9" and 6'1" makes him easily the shortest on the entire offensive line, making him look like a child next to these demons on each side of him. Just imagine if they are 12'6". Poor Toy Freddy. Don't underestimate him though. I went against a 5'6" center my senior year of high school, and that kid was a monster. Me being 6'3", I thought I would be able to easily overpower him, but every time the ball was snapped, we would pretty much fight like Muscular and Deku for the very first time. However, we might have lost the game. I actually had some insane stats at the end of it, so I think I did my job to its fullest. Anyways, off topic. Toy Freddy. He's practically the anchor of the team. He's meant to be underestimated. Weighing roughly 285 pounds, he is most definitely built for the center position. Wow, I can bench press Toy Freddy? Y'all, am I about to pass streets here? Never mind, I'm sorry, sir. Lastly, for our 11th player on the offense, we have the tight end. Now, this is pretty hard to determine. Some teams have a bigger tight end that they usually use as another offensive lineman. However, other teams have a super tall and lanky tight end used as another receiver. And frankly, I don't think our offensive line needs any more help. I don't think they're going to struggle at all. So we're going to use him as an extra receiver option.
Hi.
I was thinking maybe Nightmare on, but then again, she has like no feet. And since superpowers are not allowed in this, she was basically useless. Aww. Then I started to think a little bit harder. Who has that dog in them? Who's a team player but also has a dark side to them? Then it hit me. This character has light and dark, and he's a crash out. Eclipse is our tight end. He's very lanky and tall, and just all around literally built for the tight end position. Being 8'8", oh my god! He towers over the majority of animatronics, making him the ideal cinnamon stick of our offense. He may not weigh that much, only weighing around 300 pounds according to his size. He's basically a string bean. However, that's exactly what we need to finish off our offense. I think this offense is an absolute nightmare to go up against. If I was any defender and I had to line up against, let's say, Nightmare Bonnie, I think I just quit. Truthfully, I'd walk off the field. But as they all say, if you have a good offense, you better have an even better defense. So let's move on to the defense. Starting off our defense, we have the very important defensive line. Big beefy dudes on the field that have the ability to run pretty fast despite their weight. Some teams run a 4 or a 3-man front, but for this team we're going to be doing a 3-man front, so we can have as many people in the backfield as possible. Defensive linemen are basically fridges with wheels. They have to be big and strong and also move very fast. Starting off with our 2 defensive ends, a position that is almost required to have long arms so you can keep distance between the offensive lineman and yourself. We're going to be drafting Ennard and Scrap Baby. Ennard for the sole reason that he is mainly wires, which means he can stretch his arms much further than any other animatronic, since he isn't held back by any of the shell from the suit that others wear. Imagine having someone you have to block that basically has the power of Venom from Spider-Man, being able to stretch out their body and just completely destroy you. And you may be asking, why Scrap Baby? Well, here are 2 very simple reasons. She has a giant claw in her arm that she can use to swat down the hands of anyone stands against her, basically making her the ultimate edge rusher. And not to mention, she's 7'2". We pretty much have a 7'2" beefed up Cloutzer from Pokemon. Plus, the height and the weight is a great factor. She's going to be a huge problem for the offense. Lastly, for the defensive line, we have the nose guard. This is what I played along with fullback in high school and college, so I know a good amount about this position. Coaches either want a huge beefball who plugs up gaps and makes it very hard for the offensive lineman to block them, or they want a pretty average sized guy to get off the ball as fast as they can and get in the backfield by beating the offensive lineman off the snap. So since we only have 3 linemen, we kind of need to have a butterball on the defensive line, so who better than Circus Baby? She's a gigantic threat, standing in at 7'2", and a rather smart animatronic, since we can see her put together plans like she did in Sister Location to kill Michael Afton. So leading the defensive line small group is probably no problem for her. Imagine being the center and seeing this monster trot over to her into a 3-point stance at a snail's pace. This would send the fear of God in me. Her being in her 3-point stance would most likely be taller than most people. You wouldn't even be able to see the linebacker behind her, which is even scarier when you think about it. Because if she's on this team, who's behind her? Is he scarier? Is he not? Guess you'll never know until the ball's snapped. The middle linebacker position is the leader of the defense, an all-around well-rounded player who has a pretty even strength and speed gap. May excel in one or the other, but all around pretty equal. And who's the most well-rounded FNAF character? Well, that would be none other than Freddy Fazbear himself as our defensive leader, and at the middle linebacker position. An all-around team leader, being the lead singer of the band for many years. If he does that, I can easily see him leading this team to a Super Bowl win with ease. Standing in at 6 foot tall, 300 pounds, he's pretty much the closest we're going to get to a real player in this league. The other team better hope they aren't playing in a dome and the power somehow goes out, because that's where his power truly will shine. But that's very circumstantial, it probably won't happen. You can't have the middle linebacker without his right-hand man, the outside linebacker. Typically bigger and still fast, mainly used for blitzing due to his muscular size and fast running speed. And who else than Phantom Freddy, standing in at 6 foot 7 inches. Don't do that stupid meme. Please don't do that. Imagine seeing this gigantic nightmare standing against you in a 2-point stance. You better pray to any god that you believe in, because this man is truly destroying everything you love once that ball is snapped. Not to mention, he has the power to basically phase through any enemy. However, I picture this guy as a bloodthirsty demon who would want to run straight into you and cause problems. I picture him as the Ray Lewis of this team. A pretty big crash out nonetheless. So I think you should watch out for anything this 6 foot 7 tall animatronic bear has to do on the outside. Next, we have the weak side linebacker, usually used for covering stray receivers coming up the middle, or sometimes even going downfield to cover them. I'm sitting here thinking who would be a good defender, who's tall, fast, but also has a leading factor to them. Someone who can call out receivers and tell the other defenders who has who, and who better than Glamrock Freddy, your companion throughout the entirety of Security Breach. He's tall, fast, agile, and strong. He's pretty much made for this position. I mean, just look at his crazy speed. He's truly Flash. Glamrock Freddy will surely lead this team's backfield into a truly terrifying season. Now that I'm realizing we have all Freddys as linebackers, I'm thinking this is pretty much the next Legion of Boom. Last up to finish our linebackers, the inside linebacker. Pretty much the same as the outside linebacker, except they typically only blitz. They're usually giant meatheads hell-bent on causing damage to whoever is in front of them. And who better than another Freddy? Why not, right? So we're going to add Nightmare Freddy as our inside linebacker. Just think about it. He can throw his little frettles at whoever's in front of them to distract him. Then he can either go right around them or hit them so hard that they turn into mist. I'm thinking he's going to choose the second option just based off of how this man looks. Standing in at 6 foot 8, taller than most cars, he's someone you don't want to get angry with due to him being the crash out of their team. This ends the position for the linebackers. Truly one devastating lineups. 4 gigantic bears in the backfield staring at you while you have a circus baby in front of you, eyeing you down with the intent to kill. I would honestly just wave the white flag at this point. The cornerback position. The position where the biggest trash talkers exist on the field. People who think they're better than everyone else and think they are the star of the show. Who else is the star of the show? Well, why not Lolbit? She's gonna be our cornerback. Pretty much a perfect spot for her. Since she is basically another Funtime Foxy, we can all assume that she can jump up with the rest of them. However, she is super short, standing in at 5 foot 9. I think she can get up there like Mark McMillan, for sure. If her sister can do it, so can she. And me personally, I like Law a bit better, so I'm a little biased. For our second cornerback, we have a pretty much of a sleeper pick. We're gonna be picking Withered Foxy. He may not be the tallest standing in at only 6 foot 6. Oh, well, never mind, he is pretty tall. But nonetheless, he is an alter version of Foxy, and Foxy can run super fast. But now he doesn't have the handicap of his hook, since the defender isn't required to catch the ball. Foxy can do an insane leap into the air, like he does in FNAF 2, and slap the ball with his hook, which will either pop the ball, or send it flying into the face of an unsuspecting kid. He's going to be a pretty big bully in this position, probably similar to Josh Norman, always picking fights. However, I don't think anybody in their right mind would pick a fight with this man. And here we have it, the final 2 positions for the defense, the 2 safeties, strong safety and free safety. Let's start with the strong safety. We need a reliable person who runs like no other. They're responsible for sometimes covering receivers, but also being the last line of defense in case anybody gets free in the open. And sometimes, very rarely, they can also blitz. And who has the ability to do a lot of different things like other people? Who else than... Here's what I'd do. I'd get the Mimic, tell him to go to Old Man Consequence's office, make him watch a highlight reel of Sean Taylor, and then ask him to mimic his playstyle. And boom, you have an immediate threat in the backfield. Sean Taylor's legacy will live on through the Mimic. I just hope he doesn't pick a stupid costume during game day, or else he may have to be benched and we're going to plug Balloon Boy in his position. Lastly, we have our free safety. Usually they don't do anything on the field until they're really needed, and in which they're going to be very needed because their job becomes the most important on the field. They basically aura farm until things get out of control, so I figured Yendo would be a good choice for this. Why do you ask? Because he's the ultimate aura farmer. Plus, if you're a receiver and you see him standing down the field looking like a Giga Chad, then you may think twice about catching that open ball in the open field, knowing that he will immediately activate and hunt you down like Officer Earl from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. He's the ultimate wild card for this defense, but I also think he is the perfect member for it as well. Now don't worry you guys, we aren't going to forget about the punter, kicker, or kick and punt returner. Don't you worry your little special teams heads about that. Firstly, we're going to be picking the kicker. We need someone who has powerful legs, not skinny little chud legs. No, we need big and meaty legs. And who has those legs? Well, Ballora does. Man, she can't even use her arms, so she was legit made for this position. Those long legs will boot that football so far, she will easily be the best kicker in the entire league, hitting 80-yard field goals with ease. Now for the punter position. I was going to do Ballora again, but then again, she can't use her hands when the long snapper snaps the ball, so she pretty much would be useless here. So we're going to be choosing Bonnie for this, just for the sole reason that he's a rabbit. We're just banking on the fact that Bonnie has strong legs because rabbits typically only use their legs, so hey, why not? I don't really have any other character that I could use here. Lastly, the kick and punt returner. We're going with a doozy here and choosing Golden Freddy. No, not that Golden Freddy, this one. FNAF 2 Golden Freddy could just catch the ball in his mouth and fly across the field like the old Batman logo. It's a flawless plan. He doesn't have knees, so he pretty much can't be tackled. Plus, I think he's got the moves. Maybe he'll change the airflow and somehow break somebody's ankles on the other team. It's a flawless idea. Trust me. Oh, and Balloon Boy as the holder for field goals, because on the off chance Ballora misses and kicks him, he would go flying. And a giant DJ Music Man containing the end zone on punt and kickoff to ensure the other team can't make it to the end zone if they somehow get past all of the other animatronics. And DJ Music Man works here since he's pretty much the entire end zone, so there's no way anybody's scoring on a kick or punt return. And there we have it. Here's the list for the entire team. I don't think anybody is beating this team in a million years, but if any of you have a better team, let me know down in the comments. This is my very first video, so please show me some support by subscribing, liking, comment down below, and turn on notifications. I know this video isn't amazing due to the fact that this is my first video, but I also have a really good video making in the progress that has around 30 plus people in a talent show on a certain topic that you will have to wait and see when it comes out. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Stay tuned everyone. Have a great day.